What the hell is going on, YouTube? I'm Drunken Drogger, and in today's episode, we're going to be diving into Back 4 Blood, covering information about this parasitic zombie plague known as the Ridden, a malevolent extraterrestrial parasite known as the Devil Worm coming from the dark void of space.
Morty, please, don't do this!
Your Morty is gone! I am Voltimatron, destroyer of worlds!
Granny, love you so much!
Yes, Morty, come on! You're doing it!
You're doing it! You're doing it! Should we pull it out?
No, don't touch it. Just keep loving Morty.
We'll be taking a look at some of the special types of Ridden and their variants. We'll also talk about another parasite known as microtransactions.
Rick? Summer? Stupid mother!
Stupid bitch!
Stupid mother! How do you like that? How do you like that?
Just kidding, but seriously, they don't need to go crazy with that. Anyway, let's get right into the story. A parasite lays dormant in the crater depths of Penglet National Park near Quebec, Canada, waiting for its time to emerge, and it's been waiting for quite some time. Roughly about 1 million years or so. Quebec scientists discover these devilish little bastards buried 2,500 feet below the ice, near the Arctic Circle. Scientists were most likely there to recover remains of the meteor, but little did they know they'd just opened Pandora's box. They took the specimen back to their research lab in Quebec City for further study. While conducting tests on the worm, the presence of water brought the devil worm out of suspended animation. Once out of stasis, it set its sights on one of the researchers as a viable host. Mankind is a suitable host for this parasite because the human body consists of roughly 60% water. Yay, lucky us. An effort was made to warn the public about drinking bottled water and staying away from pools, puddles, and ponds. The parasitic plague then made its way down from Quebec City to the east coast of the US, spreading like a wildfire across the states. In my opinion, I believe a hive mind was then created, linking all Ridden to one singular consciousness. This worm is somehow able to manipulate the human body on a cellular level, crafting hellish abominations of both worm and necrotic human flesh, known as the Ridden. Now, most of humanity has either been killed or infected by the parasitic devil worm. However, all is not lost, as a group of battle-hardened veterans called the Cleaners, wish they would have come up with a better name, but that's just me, have come together to face the undead Ridden horde, to reclaim the world that was plunged into chaos. Let's start with the most common Ridden. These shambling corpses are the most basic type of Ridden, and luckily the easiest to defeat. They're not much of a threat one-on-one, but attacking as a parasitic horde is a whole nother story. The game's AI, known as the Director, will activate different corruption cards of various common infected, such as Volatile Ridden, Armored Ridden, Charred Ridden, Blighted, Jogger Swarms, Runners, Sprinters, and Shambling Ridden Swarms, and perhaps more. Despite all these undead variants, humanity isn't going to be taken down without a fight. The devil worm seems to understand this, leading me to believe it's sentient. So to combat this human resistance, the worm begins to change its undead host into the stuff of nightmares. These special Ridden are created with a single purpose: to destroy the world of men. The devil worms are able to combine human flesh to create these monstrosities, and many of them have special variants. Let's start with the special infected Ridden known as the Breaker. The Breakers are massive undead brutes with great strength, armored mangled flesh, and terribly large necrotic fists. Don't let their size fool you though, Breakers are remarkably agile and can lunge great distances. They're a force to be reckoned with and should be focused down by multiple survivors. This of course reminds me of back when I played Left 4 Dead, and we had to go up against a tank. It was definitely terrifying. I'm not certain at this time as to what is the best method to dispatch this large foe, but just keep shooting at it and run for your life. A Molotov or two might send this devilish fiend back to the abyss, or make matters worse. Far worse. Screams can be heard from this new plagued land, but nothing from this world. You can only look on in terror by the sight of a long-necked aberration of horror known as the Snitcher. The Snitcher, while grotesque and vomit-inducing, isn't all that powerful. A large mass of inflamed flesh has lifted the head far from its shoulders. Worm-like tentacles can be seen protruding from its neck and skull. Its purpose is to alert the hordes with its deafening siren-like scream. Its scream is between 150 to 170 decibels, which, to put that in perspective, is like being 25 meters from a jet taking off. Once aggroed, the hordes will descend upon the survivors, making for a challenging fight. It's best to leave these creatures alone or quickly take them out. They can make an already difficult fight way more challenging. Always proceed with caution when coming across this enemy type. Lurking above unsuspecting survivors is our next special infected, the Stinger. The Stinger is a 4-armed mutated infected. The extra set of arms are from the devil worm's creativity, fusing 2 human torsos together. They're agile and are able to traverse many surfaces, waiting for the right moment to strike. The Stinger family of Ridden also have 2 other variants, which include the Stalker and Hawker. These spider-like nightmares are fast and nimble. They are able to leap and pin down any unsuspecting human. They can also attack from a distance with a projectile of phlegm that can incapacitate survivors, making them easy prey for the rest of the Ridden horde. The large sac containing this weaponized mucus is located at the center of their chest. This seems to be an exploitable vulnerability, and survivors should take steady aim at this target to dispatch them quickly. The scent of rotting decay fills the air when you notice a large mass of combined hulking flesh. If the smell isn't enough to kill someone, its exploding pus-filled body will. Of course, I'm talking about the Reeker. The Reekers are large, bloated, mutated zombies ready to cover survivors in sticky, bily goo. They're the epitome of plague and death. Survivors beware, these big guys explode upon death, alerting the hordes to your location. The guts can impair vision, making you vulnerable to attack. There are 2 other variants to the Reeker family, the Exploder and Wretch variant. All of them seem to want to cover you in God knows what, so just be careful. These big guys should be taken out from a distance, otherwise get ready to be covered in a terrible mess and a smell that might never come out of your clothes. Speaking of a terrible smell, this next special infected is one you wouldn't want to get anywhere near. It's got a voracious appetite for human flesh, but would rather swallow its victims whole. The Hag. The Hag looks like something straight out of an H.P. Lovecraft novel. It's a rather large, unspeakable horror with long arms and sharp claws. The most noticeable feature is terrifying. Human arms are seen coming out of its mouth, ready to grab any foolish enough to come within its loving embrace. They also have huge red lesions on their back, which could be deathworm larvae waiting to be fed. These arms latch on to survivors, slowly dragging them inside its mouth, devouring them whole. This will be an instant kill should they fully devour the survivor uninterrupted. Truly a terrifying opponent. Hags, however, aren't the only creatures that lurk in the swamps. The ground quakes with every step as our next abomination takes the field. The Ogre. Ogres are giant amalgamations of flesh and bone that come out of the ground. They stand at a towering 20 feet. The chilling screams of the ogre are comprised of many unfortunate souls trapped from within. This creature is able to do an insane amount of damage and can recover health quickly. Going toe-to-toe with this foe is certain death. Getting close will result in it picking you up and throwing you halfway across the map. Despite its size though, it actually can move at a quick pace, so survivors can either outrun it or shoot it from a distance. However, even at a distance they're dangerous. They can hurl balls of flesh, called hilariously meatballs, yuck, at survivors. If your team is going to kill it, make sure you are prepared. This foe isn't to be taken lightly. Bring explosives, also a shit ton of grenades to bring this giant down. Doing so will bring players a bonus reward. And finally, last but not least, we've got the tall boy. While not as tall as the ogre, he's still pretty big. They're large undead with a rather easily identifiable characteristic. They have an overgrown right arm and shoulder. There are two other variants of the tall boy, the bruiser and crusher. They use their overgrown limb as their primary weapon. They can do serious damage close to mid-range. Their overhead smash attack can deal damage in a radius like shockwave, knocking their victims back. They can quickly close the gap to their target, so survivors beware. They share a similar resemblance to Chargers from Valve's Left 4 Dead 2. I wonder why their right arms are so big. While it's entirely possible that not all of them have been shown off, that is all the information I have on these known infected. I can't wait for this zombie game, which is set to release October 12th, 2021. Pre-ordering the game will grant you early access for the beta August 5th through the 9th, and the open beta on August 12th through the 16th. I'll most likely get my hands on this beta for my own insight into the game and get some crazy footage. I'll definitely be picking this game up and will be doing a possible review and playthrough of the game. If you like the video, please leave a like and subscribe, and also hit that notification bell to catch up on more Back 4 Blood and other games set to come out this year. Thanks for watching, and thank you for supporting my channel. I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one.
Fed to the wolves without reprieve. Howl at the moon, but I'll break free. Fire in your eyes, you're burning red. God knows I tried.